impresses me most is the loyalty that people have towards the club.
Thinking back on it, you know, it was a good time with it for everybody. Everybody pulled their weight. It was a close-knit team.
Well, look, I just think that club at that period really was a uniting force for so many boys that wouldn't have had the fellowship and the opportunity to join in team sports back then. Now, it's probably the same now.
I'm Frank Speare. I've been involved with the Taringa Rovers Soccer Football Club since 1949. I can recall I was an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old in 1949. I can recall the first meeting, which was convened by my father, Jack Speare, and his mate, Ernie Dixon, on the pressure from their two sons, John Speare and Trevor Dixon, and that was held in Taringa Parade in 1949.
So I knew the Spears and the Dixons, not well, but sufficiently enough that when they decided to start a soccer team, a soccer club, they asked me if I'd like to join. And I jumped at the chance.
George left at Dinsdale, and I was one of the foundation members. There was myself, Trevor Dixon, Johnny Speare, Frankie Speare, Colin Howard, who were the others? There's quite a few others too. Well, I lived at Indooroopilly, but the team was Taringa Rovers.
I recall it was on the Dixon's house. It was an interesting episode. The club was named. It was decided to call it Taringa Rovers because when they went through the number of players they thought they had, they came from Indooroopilly, Taringa and Twong, so they decided to choose the middle suburb being Taringa, hence the name Taringa Rovers. The first team, as I recall, was what they called in those days a junior minor team, which I think was about an under 15 team, and the photo appears in many publications. And in the front of these photos is a little fat fellow sitting, who was a ball boy, and that was me. So I was actually an official ball boy. Our first ground was at Moore Park, which was down off the hill from Taringa Parade.
Probably it would be at least half the men would be working, but you know, they had fairs and lunches and that, so they wouldn't have been too off with finances, but the others were relying on their parents, and so they just wouldn't have been able to afford to buy a jersey and football boots. So it was actually a fleecy sloppy Joe. I'm not sure who dreamed that up, but it just put the price back into reality. So whereas a jersey nowadays might cost, I don't know, $50, I'd say that one on a relative basis probably would have cost $5. So, you know, it was a big help, and we didn't feel out of place with them.
Our floodlights consisted of something like street lights, which were steel poles about the same size as a street light with one light on them, which were down the side of the field, and at the end of every soccer season we used to have to come out and dismantle all these lights and take them away, because we played cricket here as well in the middle of the cricket field basically.
As a matter of fact, a lot of the people even in the first year, they weren't choir boys. You know, they were fairly tough lads, some of those people. You could put one or two of them in with Muhammad Ali, and you know, and they'd account for themselves fairly well. But the thing I want to stress is that it harnessed these people. They had a lot of energies, and they didn't put a step out of place. You know, they fitted into the team just as well as I did. Because actually, I was actually having a drink at the hotel, at the Indooroopilly Hotel, a few years after that, and one of the players, I think it was a couple of nephews, they were in the bottle shop and they were smashing bottles, and then they came through the bar, and surprisingly, a couple of them took a swing at the people that I was with. You know, so I mean, they were just right out of control. I think if they'd have joined Taringa Rovers, that wouldn't have happened.
No, it was really good. It was a good bunch of fellows.
The club grew, you know, from basically one junior team up to 10 or 12 teams, and finally we started to move into the senior teams. 1975, the advent of this, the licence club, and shortly after the development of the dressing shed complex. I guess when you look back now, you could say, well, I suppose through 60 years, I suppose you could count 10,000 young people who have passed through the ranks of Taringa Rovers, and you look back with some pride. I mean, we haven't all been champions, but I guess if the club has taught them something about sportsmanship or a bit about life in general, then it's achieved its goals, because my father was always of the opinion that all he wanted to do was to give the young people of the area a sport to play and a place to play it in. And I think he's achieved that goal.
Johnny Speare and Frank Speare, they were two of the best people you could ever wish to meet. And they were real good players.
Taringa Rovers has got this special history, as I see it, and it was one of those clubs that I sort of always wanted to come, but never felt that I could perhaps do it justice. And it was a great thrill when I applied for the position and sat downstairs in that boardroom full of history, and you actually feel that history when you're sitting there. And unlike what I expected, I was actually made feel very comfortable by everybody that was firing questions, and straight away I felt like I was at home, and even now, I mean, the urge to do well is still burning inside. Oh, look, I mean, all you have to do is have a look at the rated players that are going around now. And look, most of them have played at Taringa Rovers, and a lot of them have got fond memories of Taringa Rovers. So you know that anybody that plays at Taringa Rovers is well looked after. They've always played a very good brand of football, exciting football, and they've had very famous coaches in Juan Cotillas and John Ogden, and amongst others. So having the opportunity to coach here, I feel I'm amongst some very good coaches, so I feel humbled by the fact that I'm here, and I look forward to giving some back.
I get more well, I shouldn't say that. I get a lot of satisfaction out of the Premier League side, but I certainly get a tremendous amount of satisfaction out of seeing 6 and 7 and 8 year olds running around here in Taringa colours. I was up at the Brumbies in Kenmore the other Saturday morning, and there was a little fella there in the Taringa colours, and he was there with his mum, and I said to his mum, do you mind if I talk to him for a minute? And she said, no, not at all. And I introduced myself, and I said, it's a great club. And he agreed with me. He said, yeah, mate. He said, it's a really great club.
You know, my mind goes to the Metro team, where there is a number of players that ply their sport, I guess, in the Metro League, who are through and through Taringa Rovers, who, having spent an hour and a half just playing their game and then watching their teammates, still get up on the balcony and cheer on the others. And I think that's something that is often overlooked, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for that. Those are the sorts of people that I think are the heart and soul of the club. Players that come here, play for the love of it, play for the love of the badge, come out on working bees and help. Those are the sorts of people, your Ben Cowans, your Chris Maries, your David Forshaws. There's so many that I can mention that, as I said, I'd do a disservice to anybody that I don't mention.
I believe Taringa is just about to move into a very prosperous period. I think at the helm of the footballers now, we have people who are vitally interested in what's going on, and I think with what I know is happening, I think we're just about ready to move into a very exciting period. And when we line up here for the 70th year, I think we'll have a lot more interesting stories to tell.